This is Money, Motivation, and Mike, and I am your host, Michael Wainwright. In charge of all the controls, as always, is audio engineer Jason Wright. And hello to you, world. This is the show that will change your life. You can always find us and contact us at info@mx3.vip, on our website, mx3.vip, or on our YouTube at youtube.com/@mx3podcast. And don't forget to give us likes, subscribes, and hit the bell for the icon to get notified of all of our new content, which, as you all know, comes out every Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Interesting show today as we go into part 2 of the Scary Times Success. The strategic coach, Dan Sullivan, that we will continue on our second part of his manual that he put out on the scary times that he feels not only are we coming into, but are we already in as well. Now, as you can see, and most of the time I'm in a sports jacket, sometimes even a suit. And today, Jason, I have on Texas Rangers jersey, who is my favorite baseball team. And let's see, can we see the back of it? Is that possible?
Yeah, just
for the listening audience, I am in a Texas Ranger white home jersey. And on the back, it's going to say Ryan, for Nolan Ryan, number 34. Here you go.
Yes, sir.
Yes. If this doesn't work out, I'm going to be a fashion model. And you'll be my agent, Jason.
Fantastic.
Probably wouldn't quit what I'm doing. But nevertheless, the reason I wore my Texas Ranger jersey today is because the 2023 MLB All-Stars were announced yesterday, and the Rangers have 4 of the 8 American League starters, which is the first time in the history of the franchise to have that many. I don't even remember them having 3, let alone 2, and now here we are with 4. The shortstop, the second baseman, the third baseman, and the catcher, all in the infield. The reason I say 4 of the 8 starters because the managers pick the pitchers. So the pitchers haven't been picked yet. I think it comes in early July. But 4 of the 8 starters, when you're talking about a full American League roster, that is impeccable. Now, here's the deal with all that. Can they finish the job, Jason? Can they get it done? We were within 1 strike twice in 2011. And the first time the Rangers lost the World Series in 2010 was to the San Francisco Giants. And that year, the coach was Bruce Bochy, which is now the coach of the Texas Rangers. So hopefully he can bring it home and we can get the job done and get this Texas Ranger scarce of never being able to win the World Series behind us. Moving on to scary times. Maybe it's going to be scary times when the Rangers get to the playoffs. Hopefully not. Hopefully it'll be great times. But in these scary times, as I've already said, by Dan Sullivan, and continuing on, we talked about the first 5 of the scary times of his success manual. Number 1, forget about yourself and focus on others. Number 2, forget about your commodities and focus on your relationship. Number 3, forget about the sell and focus on creating value. Number 4, forget about your losses and focus on your opportunities. And number 5, forget about your difficulties and focus on your progress. And that brings us to number 6. And number 6 by Mr. Sullivan is forget about the future and focus on today. The future is an abstraction. It doesn't exist except in an idea. The only future that has any reality is the one you are continually creating for yourself through each day's contributions, achievements, and results. This is an excellent time that we're in 2023 to ignore all those experts who never saw the present circumstances coming. Focus on what you do over the course of a 24-hour day, and you'll be the only expert on the future you'll ever need to know. So quit worrying about today. Now, this is what I always tell people, that I live for today and I plan for tomorrow. So forget about the future and focus on today. Live for today. Now, I know we have to be prepared for what's going to start at midnight tonight and really what's going to start when we get up the next morning. But we have to stay focused on where we are today and only today, because the future at this particular moment does not exist. Forget about the future and focus on today. And moving on to number 7, forget about who you were and focus on who you can be. See, that's something that 80% of us never do. All we do is talk about the past. We just talked about forgetting about the future. Forget about the past. Focus about where you were. Forget about where you were, and focus on who you can be. Many people define themselves by external circumstances. When these abruptly and unexpectedly change circumstances, they don't know who they are. So they keep trying to be who they used to be. From now on, take your cues from the inside, from your dreams, from your vision, from your ideas, your values, and operating principles. These need to never change. Regardless of the circumstances, take advantage of the external confusion to become self-directed, self-managed, and self-motivated. And that is something that so many of us struggle with, is self-motivating. And, the name of our show, Money, Motivation, and Mike, and that's where we come into play and hope that we can motivate you just a little bit to do something different than you did yesterday. Nevertheless, forget about who you were and focus on who you can be. And that's called growth, internal growth, motivational growth, mental growth, physical growth by exercising, etc. Number 8 is always important. Forget about events and focus on your responses. Now, what that means, when things are going well, many people think they're actually in control of the events. That's why they feel so defeated and depressed when things turn bad, because they take the credit, they take the blame. They think they've lost some fundamental abilities. The most consistently successful people in the world know they can't control events, but create responses to those events. Let's say a death. Let's say a funeral, maybe even going to a wedding, maybe going to a ball game where the team loses, etc. Anytime there is fear, uncertainty, or discomfort, it's an excellent time to focus on your attention and enemies on being creatively responsive to all the unpredictable events that lie ahead. So, once again, anytime there is fear, uncertainty, and discomfort, it's an excellent time to focus your attention and enemies on being creatively responsive to all the unpredictable events that lie ahead. Forget about the events and focus on the responses. How can I deal with adversity? How can I deal with confrontation? How can I deal with events that don't go the way that I want them to go? Positive-minded, positive people do positive things. Focus on the internal things that help you get through whatever stuff it is that you continue to maybe struggle with on a daily basis. Moving on to number 9, forget about what's missing and focus on what's available. When things change for the worse, many desirable resources are inevitably missing, including information, knowledge, the tools, the systems, personnel, and capabilities. These deficiencies can paralyze many people. When you believe they can't make decisions, when you believe you can't make decisions and take actions, that's when you need to come to a strategic response to take advantage of every resource that is immediately available in order to achieve as many small results and make as much daily progress as possible. You can't focus on what's missing. You have to focus on what's available. You're sitting at the table with no spoon and no knife, but you still have a fork. Find a way to eat your food with the fork. It should be pretty simple and easy to do, but I guess on the other hand, maybe if you're using a fork to eat a bowl of cereal, that might be a little bit more difficult thing. But compromise and understanding and not complaining and focusing on what's available will help you out. Work on every resource and every opportunity at hand, and your confidence will continually grow regardless of what's missing in your life. You have to focus on what you have and not on what you don't have. You have to focus on what's available. continuing to do that, I believe, will bring you positive responses and positive life-changing events. Number 10, very, very important, and then probably my most thought of here of the 10 different times of scary times that Mr. Dan Sullivan has pointed out. Number 10, forget about your complaints and focus on your gratitude. When times get tough, everyone has to make a fundamental decision to complain or to be grateful. In an environment where negative people are rampant, the consequences of the decision is much greater. Complaining about affects negative thoughts and people. Gratitude, on the other hand, creates the opportunity for the best thinking, actions, and results to emerge. Focus on everything you're grateful for, communicate this, and open yourself each day to the best possible consequences. We get up every day. We get up every day in many, many times in negative thoughts. We get up every day complaining about the weather, whatever it is. Today my car won't start. Whatever it is, focus on the gratitude that maybe your next door neighbor is going to drive you to work. Focus on the fact that it's raining outside and bringing nature to your garden, to your yard, to the pond, or whatever it is that brings the farmers and ranchers what they need from a watering aspect. Focus on your gratitude. Do not focus and forget about the complaints. Forget about the complaints all the way. You have to focus on these things on a regular basis. Now, as I said, we were through 6 through 10 today of Mr. Dan Sullivan and the Scary Times Success Manual that he has come out with, and he's a strategic coach that has these kinds of things that come along all the time. Number 6, once again, forget about the future and focus on today. Number 7, forget about who you were and focus on who you can be. Number 8, forget about these events and focus on your responses. Number 9, forget about what's missing, focus on what's available. And number 10, forget about your complaints and focus on your gratitude. Here at Money, Motivation, and Mike, we always try to bring things to you just like this. And the scary times that we feel are coming. Yes, not only do we try to stay very, very positive, but also during that positive opportunities, there are negative things that happen to us on a regular basis. And being able to deal with those things is how we make ourselves a better person, not only today, but going forward tomorrow. And we make ourselves a better father, a better mother, a better brother, a better sister, etc., etc. Finding ways to go out and help people and change their lives and quit focusing on everything that I do and all the negativity that's going on next door at my home, in my neighborhood. And we're going to get rid of all that stuff and focus on the positives. Now, I was also sent a card by a listener of this show, and it's titled Something to Remember by Abraham Lincoln. President Lincoln said back in the days, and now it's been put onto a card that I want to read to you. You cannot bring about prosperity by discouraging theft. You cannot strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. You cannot help little men by tearing down big men. You cannot help the wage earner by pulling down the wage payer. You cannot further brotherhood of man by encouraging class hatred. You cannot help the poor by destroying the rich. You cannot establish sound security on borrowed money. You cannot keep out of trouble by spending more than you earn. You cannot build character and courage by taking away men's intuitive and independence. You cannot help men prematurely by doing for them what they could and should do for themselves. All different quotes by President Abraham Lincoln back in the 1800s that all stand strong to this day. This has been Money, Motivation, and Mike. And once again, we are bringing things to you. Info at MX3.VIP, MX3.VIP website, and YouTube, youtube.com/MX3 podcast. Please give us all your comments, your questions, and maybe some of the answers that you feel that maybe we didn't totally bring all the time. Give us some of that as well. in the future here. We've got some things coming up. We've got some special guests that you will find out about in the near future. And as we come up on the celebration of our country, our birthday of July 4th, we want to go ahead and wish you safe, happy holidays. And once again, for everyone who's been a part of this show, Money, Motivation, and Mike, live your life the right way.